Just 1 hour ago, MI6 agents raided a hidden estate linked to Prince Andrew, uncovering a labyrinth of secret rooms, encrypted vaults, and files that were never meant to see the light of day. What started as a quiet investigation exploded into a full-scale national scandal. From biometric locks to blackmail archives, this wasn't just a royal residence. It was a fortress of secrets. And now, the world is demanding answers the crown can no longer bury. The Unseen Fortress. At exactly 8 a.m. on May 17, 2025, agents from MI6 arrived at Prince Andrew's Berkshire estate, fully sanctioned with legal documentation under Operation Hollow Veil. They weren't alone. Accompanying them were elite surveillance analysts, thermal engineers, and counterintelligence specialists trained to detect architectural deceit. As the wrought iron gates opened, the beautiful estate appeared serene. Manicured gardens, pristine stonework, and a grand Victorian facade. But appearances were deceiving. The estate was more secure than many classified government sites. State-of-the-art motion detectors, thermal cameras, and pressure plates were hidden in plain sight. Disguised beneath marble statues, garden lights, and even flagstone paths. Lead investigator Sarah Morrison, a seasoned MI6 operative and former military intelligence analyst in Iraq, immediately noticed anomalies in the energy grid and perimeter monitoring. Her instincts were clear. This wasn't a traditional royal residence, it was a tactical deception zone. As the team conducted a full perimeter sweep, a heat anomaly was detected behind the East Garden's ivy-covered wall. There, camouflaged by greenery, was an unmarked steel door with no visible handle. With clearance in place, Sarah ordered the breach. What lay beyond was a descending staircase, thick with humidity and heavy air. The grandeur above was an illusion. Below, the true nature of the estate began to reveal itself. Within 90 minutes, Sarah's team traced multiple power surges, confirming the presence of underground facilities. Records showed secret renovations took place between 2010 and 2013, handled by contractors with ties to offshore shell companies. No permits were filed, no government oversight. The Berkshire estate had been transformed into a high-security hub, concealing far more than anyone had imagined. The deeper the team dug, the clearer the picture became. This was not a retreat. It was a command post for secrets. Every brick and hallway was built with purpose, and every feature pointed to something more dangerous than privacy: control. As the MI6 squad moved through the unregistered stairwell, they realized the estate was built as a lie, a royal shell covering a covert machine. Their next discovery would prove that this operation wasn't just architectural, it was psychological warfare. Discovering secret corridors. What initially appeared to be wine cellars and maintenance rooms quickly unraveled into a labyrinth of hidden corridors, false walls, and concealed staircases. Sarah Morrison examined the 2014 blueprints filed with Windsor County Planning, only to discover entire sections of the estate that were never documented. One corridor extended 12 meters longer than officially recorded. One door, listed as a pantry, led to a biometric secured room with copper-lined walls, commonly used to prevent electronic eavesdropping. Behind a row of decorative climbing roses in the interior conservatory, Sarah's team discovered a disguised mechanical access panel, disguised as part of the irrigation system. With thermal imaging and manual override tools, they cracked it open. A spiraling staircase led downward, lit by motion-triggered LEDs and cooled by an underground airflow system held at 19 degrees Celsius, ideal for preserving tech and sensitive documents. Each corridor featured electronic locks with extensive digital logs. One panel, cross-referenced with internal timestamps, showed 4,398 individual entries, 22 of which were directly linked to Prince Andrew via fingerprint scans. These weren't occasional visits. This space was used regularly, quietly maintained, and updated most recently in January 2025. Surveillance cameras, carefully positioned and masked within ceiling beams, recorded without alerting visitors. The ventilation system was rerouted through fake chimneys and decorative fountains, all feeding back into a single filtration hub. Even the koi pond outside served a hidden function, housing the primary coolant vent for underground servers. None of these installations were ever declared to local authorities. The deception wasn't improvised, it was engineered. Every tunnel, every lock, every rerouted pipe told a story of planning, secrecy, and control. But beneath the foundations lay something deeper than corridors, the very heart of Andrew's shadow operation. Sarah and her team prepared to open a hidden panel marked only by a carved lion's head. What lay beyond wasn't just another room. It was a vault of blackmail, leverage, and legacy. The team took a breath. Then they opened the door. The room that changed everything. Behind the hidden panel marked Lion 3, MI6 uncovered what would become the crown jewel of the investigation. A fortified room labeled Room 72C in the internal control files. The chamber contained rows of filing cabinets, encrypted servers, and over 400 binders, each coded with unique sigils. A climate control system kept the room at 21 degrees Celsius and 30% humidity, ideal for document preservation. It was a personal archive, but built with the precision of an intelligence vault. On a grand oak desk rested flight manifests dated from 2001 to 2024, listing arrivals and departures of private jets. Some well-known, others shockingly obscure. Names, destinations, durations, tail numbers, and aliases were all meticulously logged. Each manifest was color-coded: loyal, risk, or asset. Some names had been redacted, but several were easily identifiable, ranging from corporate magnates to foreign diplomats. Tucked in a drawer was a red leather-bound ledger marked Transfers. It listed wire transactions totaling over £48 million, some routed through shell corporations in Cayman Islands, Dubai, and Singapore. Attached were NDAs, many signed by high-profile individuals, all time-stamped and filed with precise tags. In the corner of the room stood a cabinet labeled Media, housing dozens of encrypted drives and photographic negatives, each marked with the date, time, and names of those captured. At the center of the room, inside a biometric safe, was a black journal, Prince Andrew's personal logbook. It contained cryptic entries, coded initials, meeting locations, and cross-references to photos and financial documents. One passage read, "Always ensure 3 layers of distance between truth and exposure." Sarah whispered aloud, "This isn't a memory vault. It's a weapon." What MI6 had discovered wasn't merely incriminating. It was systemized manipulation. This archive proved years of intentional leverage building. With Room 72C fully documented and sealed, Sarah's team braced for what came next. If this level of detail existed here, what else had Andrew buried? The estate no longer held secrets. It held evidence of a silent empire. The next rooms would reveal the reach of that empire and the web of names trapped within it. A surveillance empire beneath the mansion. The corridor beyond Room 72C led to a reinforced chamber labeled simply Vault B. Inside, the temperature dropped to a consistent 14 degrees Celsius, maintained by an industrial-grade HVAC system hidden beneath the koi pond above. Sarah Morrison stepped into the dimly lit space, flanked by MI6 tech analysts. Their eyes widened. Wall-to-wall servers, climate-controlled racks, redundant power supplies. This wasn't storage. This was command. Over 12 years of digital surveillance had been cataloged and preserved. Video footage, audio logs, time-stamped metadata, and communication intercepts, all organized with military precision. Each drive bore specific codes referencing dates, initials, and what appeared to be risk levels. Tapes dated back as far as January 2012, though digital backups went further. These weren't security cameras monitoring a royal home. They were devices of deliberate capture. Footage revealed high-profile visitors arriving through undocumented side entrances. Every visit was time-stamped. Some footage showed lights dimming as hidden cameras activated. Logs were accompanied by blind spots, manually triggered to ensure only some footage was retained. Sarah cross-referenced the logs with documents from Room 72C. The overlap confirmed it. Blackmail architecture. 3 sets of visitor logs were recovered. The first, official, listed events and guests published in media releases. The second, redacted, included individuals with direct ties to foreign entities and lobbying firms. The third, ghost, was encrypted and matched only by comparing biometric scans from the surveillance footage. These individuals had no official record of ever being on the estate, until now. The vault didn't just hold data, it held leverage. With each video, each entry log, the picture became clearer. This was a carefully curated empire of silence. And just as disturbing, there were signs that this wasn't the only location. The format, the encryption, even the room's architecture suggested replication. But before MI6 could go global, a breakthrough emerged from within. The staff themselves were starting to break their silence. Internal whistleblowers speak out. Hours into the investigation, MI6 agents were approached quietly by 2 estate employees, Michael Stevens, head of security, and Thomas Wright, property manager since 2011. Their demeanor was anxious, but their decision was clear. They had seen enough. What they revealed next would upend the investigation. Stevens admitted he was instructed to create blind spots in surveillance feeds on over 300 occasions. These blind spots were requested by the principal directly, Prince Andrew. The modifications were made to avoid third-party scrutiny and were always followed by memory wipe protocols. He handed over a hidden flash drive containing backdoor access logs showing override usage by Andrew himself. Thomas Wright added another layer. He revealed that the estate's renovations between 2010 and 2013 were deliberately misfiled under fictitious business entities registered in Luxembourg. He provided MI6 with alternate blueprints, unredacted ones, showing the 7 concealed rooms. All were approved and designed under Andrew's supervision, including Room 72C and Vault B. The 2 whistleblowers also exposed the use of shell companies to pay contractors, install encryption systems, and import climate control technology. Financial records, submitted under aliases, were tied to offshore accounts in Barbados and Isle of Man. The deception wasn't just about what was built, it was how it was hidden from every layer of oversight. Their final admission? There were other properties, at least 3, one in Switzerland, one in the Middle East, and a rumored Caribbean estate. All reportedly used the same architectural tactics: false blueprints, hidden rooms, and surveillance vaults. Sarah Morrison knew instantly. This case was no longer confined to one estate. It was an international conspiracy. With staff finally breaking the wall of silence, MI6 gained an unfiltered look at the extent of deception. But what came next would push the case into dangerous new territory. A royal chapel, an ancient vault, and a set of journals no one was ever meant to read. As Sarah followed the new lead to Windsor, she realized this wasn't just about hiding secrets. It was about controlling a legacy from the grave. The diaries and the codes. Guided by information from Thomas Wright, MI6 turned its attention to Windsor Chapel, a royal sanctuary largely off-limits to external agencies. Hidden beneath its foundation was a private chamber known to few, the Kingsgate Vault. It was here, according to Wright, that Prince Andrew kept his private journals, coded correspondences, and final instructions. The chapel's caretaker confirmed the vault's existence. Within 48 hours, MI6 was granted legal entry under special executive order. The vault was lined with cedar panels and gold fixtures, but its true value was contained in 6 leather-bound journals, each labeled only with a date range, from 1994 to 2024. Inside were coded entries, written in a combination of Latin phrases, abbreviations, and initials. At first unreadable, a cipher key discovered inside room 72C allowed Sarah's team to decode the entries. The journals revealed decades of meetings, private encounters, and psychological reflections. One line from September 2010 read, "Trust no one but what you record yourself. Memory fades. Recordings endure." More disturbing were passages detailing emotional manipulation, strategic alliances, and steps taken to silence dissent, both within the family and externally. Mentions of unnamed observers, clients, and protectors implied a network of people enabling Andrew's secrecy. In one volume, a passage dated December 2015 referenced the 3 properties, further confirming the existence of international surveillance hubs. The journals weren't just confessional, they were tactical. MI6 analysts called them a psychological playbook, revealing a man both paranoid and brilliant in his ability to maintain plausible deniability. Sarah Morrison faced a choice: suppress the journals to protect national stability, or expose them to reveal the full extent of a royal deception. The diaries changed everything. Not just evidence, but motive. This wasn't a rogue operation. It was a life's work. Sarah Morrison returned to the Berkshire estate, not as an investigator, but as a messenger bearing undeniable truth. As whispers spread from chapel halls to parliamentary chambers, the monarchy faced an impossible crossroads. One final vault remained locked, and the next discovery would push the scandal into full global collapse. Coded correspondence. As the digital archives and handwritten journals were decoded, MI6 uncovered a third layer of evidence. Hundreds of letters, encrypted emails, and diplomatic notes spanning over 25 years, addressed to and from Prince Andrew. Stored in a titanium-lined briefcase beneath Vault B, these documents revealed an expansive web of global communication. The names were chilling: former prime ministers, tech billionaires, Middle Eastern royals, and intelligence operatives. Some messages were casual, others highly classified. The tone of these exchanges ranged from coded humor to outright operational planning. Phrases like, "The vault is secure," or "Shipments arrive at dusk," raised eyebrows. Certain letters, dated 2012, 2015, and 2023, referenced offshore meetings in Doha, Zurich, and Casablanca. Cross-referenced with travel manifests from Room 72C, MI6 determined these were real meetings disguised as humanitarian trips or diplomatic summits. The digital messages were even more damning. Using military-grade encryption software, the files were hidden inside unrelated spreadsheets and photo metadata. Forensic analysts found communication with known foreign intelligence operatives, coded exchanges with initials linked to Russian FSB, Israeli Mossad, and UAE state security. These weren't casual friendships. They were strategic alignments. One final document, a handwritten letter dated June 2019, was addressed to the Protectors. It discussed contingency plans for potential leaks, naming individuals who could intervene quietly should the estate or vault ever be compromised. The paranoia and coordination proved one thing: Andrews' operation was not a solo effort. It was institutional. The web extended far beyond Windsor or Berkshire. It was international, political, and potentially treasonous. Sarah Morrison now realized she wasn't just holding evidence of moral failure, but potential geopolitical scandal. As MI6 prepared to escalate findings to the Prime Minister's office, an emergency summons brought Sarah into the heart of royal power. What she would face inside the palace would determine not just the fate of one man, but the image of the monarchy itself. Monarchy in freefall. Sarah Morrison's black car pulled into Buckingham Palace under discreet escort just past 3 p.m. She was met by the Lord Chamberlain, not the King, a sign of royal shielding. Inside, a crisis meeting was underway. Senior advisors, legal counsels, and communications officials huddled around war room briefings. The monarchy had seen scandals before, but nothing like this. Tensions flared. Royal legal teams pushed for containment, suppress the documents, issue denials, distract the press. Others argued for strategic disclosure, limited, controlled, and spun as a betrayal by Andrew alone. One unexpected voice broke the divide. Lady Catherine Windsor, cousin to the king, spoke firmly. "If we protect a lie, we dismantle our own foundation." Her support for transparency changed the room's energy. Sarah presented redacted findings, surveillance archives, financial flows, and key excerpts from the journals. The implications were catastrophic. Prince Andrew's patronages, protections, and legal cover had all been granted under false pretenses. The palace had unknowingly, or perhaps knowingly, harbored a covert empire. There was no more plausible deniability. In a closed-door vote, the council agreed. Partial cooperation. A 48-hour deadline was set to begin external disclosures to Parliament and intelligence partners. Anything less would risk preemptive leaks and total public collapse. Sarah issued a warning as she left. If justice is blocked now, trust in the crown may never recover. With the palace fractured and timeline set, there was no stopping what came next. As Sarah's findings moved up the chain of command, an anonymous leak broke through the firewall. The storm had begun, not as a press release, but as a torrent of files, footage, and photos. The reckoning had arrived, not through royalty, but through revelation. And the entire world was watching. The scandal goes public. At exactly 7:45 a.m. GMT, the global media was rocked by a coordinated leak. Hundreds of files, photos, manifests, encrypted documents were dumped online. Major outlets from The Guardian to CNN, Le Monde, and Der Spiegel published instant headlines: Prince Andrew's hidden empire exposed. The footage alone was damning. Video of meetings with compromised individuals, ledgers of transactions, and anonymous visitors sneaking through shadow corridors. By midday, Parliament convened emergency hearings. The UN Human Rights Council called for an independent probe. Public protests broke out in London, Sydney, and New York, demanding full transparency. Andrews' charities severed ties within hours. Former allies withdrew endorsements. Corporate patrons erased affiliations. The monarchy issued a shaken press statement at 4:15 p.m., confirming an internal investigation and suspension of Andrews' privileges. Even allies of the Crown distanced themselves. Former prime ministers called for royal reforms. International observers decried systemic rot and unregulated secrecy. Whistleblowers were granted protection. Victims of surveillance, activists, diplomats, journalists stepped forward to confirm what the files had revealed, that they had been watched, recorded, and, in some cases, threatened. As MI6 verified the authenticity of every file, the question emerged: how deep did the knowledge go? Who else knew? And how long had this been tolerated? Prince Andrew had vanished from public view, reportedly retreating to a private estate in northern Scotland. But his absence only inflamed the crisis. As the monarchy faced its worst scandal in over a century, Sarah Morrison returned to Berkshire, not for more evidence, but to oversee the final phase of deconstruction. Vaults were sealed, hard drives removed, and the estate declared a federal crime scene. But the damage had been done, and in the final act of her investigation, she would uncover the truth that tied it all together, hidden beneath the estate's deepest floor. Truth that can't be buried. Sarah stepped once more into the mansion, now abandoned. Dust filled the halls where luxury once glimmered. MI6 teams dismantled tech nodes, sealed rooms, and logged final entries. But one last room had yet to be opened, a sub-vault accessible only through a biometric match to both Prince Andrew and one senior staff member. Michael Stevens, the former security chief turned whistleblower, agreed to assist. The vault opened at 9:17 a.m., revealing identical blueprints for 3 other estates, one in Dubai, one in the Swiss Alps, and another in Antigua. Each matched the design of the Berkshire compound. The implication was clear. This wasn't a single scandal. It was a blueprint for global control. Networks, documentation, and surveillance protocols were embedded into each location. Stevens also turned over additional drives containing voice memos from Andrew, detailing strategies, doubts, and even regrets. One message, dated August 2022, stated, "If they ever find the archive, the family will never survive the fallout." That fear had come true. The monarchy's image was forever altered, not destroyed, but permanently questioned. In her final meeting with royal advisors, Sarah Morrison delivered a simple summary. This isn't about one man anymore. It's about a system built to protect power at any cost. The palace faced its choice: radical transparency or slow collapse. The people had already made theirs. The investigation isn't over. International warrants are in motion. Victim testimony grows daily. And with more estates to search, the reckoning has only just begun. The secrets buried beneath royal gardens are no longer silent. They're shouting. And the world is finally listening. The estate is now sealed. Evidence is being logged. The media storm has only begun. What MI6 uncovered goes far beyond Prince Andrew. It hints at a global web of surveillance, silent coercion, and royal complicity. This isn't about one man hiding documents. It's about a system designed to protect power and erase accountability. As encrypted drives, coded letters, and surveillance archives begin to leak into the public domain, the monarchy faces its most dangerous reckoning in modern history. Parliament is mobilizing. The press is relentless. And Prince Andrew, nowhere to be found. But make no mistake, this story isn't over. More properties are being investigated. More whistleblowers are stepping forward. And the deeper the investigation digs, the more the illusion of royal innocence begins to crack. Stay with us as we uncover the next chapter in this royal thriller. Because this time, the crown doesn't control the narrative. The people do.